Today, the city and the state attorney general's office have come to an agreement on how the city will address some major issues within the police and fire departments.
A recent investigation into APD found the department has used excessive force and racially biased practices. Denver 7's Megan Lopez has more on what is next for the department after today.
After months of investigations, after high-profile cases, after protests, after a scathing state report that determined Aurora police violate laws, used excessive force, and have racially biased practices,
we are here to discuss a stipulated consent decree
at a press conference Tuesday to outline the transition that's ahead.
The ultimate goal of this consent decree is to elevate policing and to improve public safety here in Aurora.
The change comes in the form of a consent decree, a contract between the city and the state to reform in 5 areas: racial bias in policing, use of force, diversity in the police department, documentation of officer interactions, and the use of chemical sedatives like ketamine. A consent decree monitor will be responsible for overseeing the changes in training and policy.
The idea is not a gotcha sort of thing or boiling things down to minutiae way, but really looking at big picture improvements.
It sets out specific deadlines for each area, spelled out clearly in the report.
Let's give them some juice to go to sleep.
A stipulation that police officers will not encourage EMS workers to use chemical constraints like was caught on camera with Elijah McClain.
Can we get this guy like some Versed or something and get him to calm down?
Aurora hasn't used ketamine in more than a year.
That's something that we're not proposing.
But it does use other sedatives. However, within that decree, Aurora still denies wrongdoing laid out by the AG's report.
If you're not willing to say you're wrong, we can't ever get to a place of accountability.
Community activists like Candace Bailey say this won't bring justice to the victims.
We keep spending an awful lot of money in the city of Aurora to get opinions that echo everything that our community is actually saying. What it actually does is it opens a vein for accountability and transparency on many levels.
She wants more community involvement in the reform process. For Chief Vanessa Wilson, meanwhile, the bottom line is,
to the officers on the street, this consent decree is nothing to be afraid of. And to the community, I hope that it shows you that we are willing to change.
But first, Aurora City Council needs to sign off on that contract. Megan Lopez, Denver 7.